I have a new recipe to share with you today, these no-bake mint slice reindeers. These are so easy to make and they only need a few different ingredients, so it makes it a really simple Christmas treat. All you need is your mint slice or similar. There's a lot of different biscuits that you can get that will work just as well. I love the Arnott's Mint Slice, which is a bit of a classic here in Australia, one of my favourite biscuits. And you'll need to blend those up in a food processor. Unfortunately, mine just busted, so I am using the hand pull chopper, which isn't the easiest, but it did the job. And then once you've done this, you'll have a nice crumbly texture. Add that to a medium to large bowl and do the same for the rest of your biscuits. And then add in 125 grams of softened cream cheese. The softer it is, the easier it is to mix. Mine wasn't overly soft, as you can tell. And then you'll end up with a nice sticky mixture at the end. Then line a baking tray with baking paper and roll your mint slice balls. So depending on the size you make them, you'll get around 16 to 20 balls out of this recipe using the one packet of mint slice. You can easily double up if you want more. I tend to make them a little bit on the larger size because it does make it easy to put in those reindeer antlers and the decorations at the front. Once they are all rolled, put them in your freezer for about half an hour to harden up. And just before you take them out, melt your chocolate in about 30-second intervals. I always add a little bit of coconut oil to my melted chocolate. That makes it just a little bit smoother and easier when you are trying to dip things into it. And then when they come out of the freezer, you are ready to coat them in the chocolate. So I've got all my ingredients here to turn them into reindeers. So there's a few ways you can dip them in the chocolate. You can use a skewer if you don't want to get your fingers messy, or a fork works just as well. If you use a deeper dish, you shouldn't have to use the spoon as much. You can dip it and it will coat them a lot better. This was a fairly shallow dish. Or you can just stick them in and use your fingers too, which I'll be honest, I do that most of the time. Nothing fancy here. And often the kids will help me with them as well, so it does the job. You can also switch it out for dark chocolate if you prefer. And then once your chocolate is on, stick it on your decorations as quickly as possible before it sets. So putting in those pretzel reindeer ears, those are just pretzels broken in half. And then the candy eyes are just from the baking section of the supermarket. And the red noses are M&Ms. And if you do find that your candies aren't sticking because the chocolate has set already, you can use a little bit of melted chocolate to stick it on. It works like glue pretty much. So these are so cute. They're perfect for school Christmas parties or on your Christmas dessert table, just for something a little bit fun. And the fact that they're no bake makes them great, and it doesn't take them too long to make at all. And they can store in the fridge for up to 5 days in an airtight container, or you can put them in the freezer for up to a month. So I tend to make these ones a little bit earlier so they're ready to go for Christmas and we don't have to do them at the last minute, which is great. And there you have it, a simple no-bake Christmas treat that the kids will love.